I'll go back to my question, which was about, were there more Arathi? Did we expect there to be more? Did we expect that to be it? And we were all we were misled into believing. I don't mean this seriously. I don't mean actually misled. But we were
False
sort of
marketing,
going...
class action lawsuit.
Yeah, so we were sat there going, okay, right. There must be a handful of Arathi went off and they chased the visions. And now we're sitting there like, oh, wait, you guys have an emperor?
Wait, they have an emperor.
They have an emperor.
An emperor.
Yes, an emperor. They have the emperor of this brand new kingdom
Big
that
sweaty
exists
Augustus.
somewhere. Exactly.
Let's go.
Yeah, they have an emperor who sent them to Beladar, chasing the emperor's vision. Yeah.
Okay, what? That goes way. Oh, that. Are they from Avalor? No, it couldn't be from Avalor. And no. If they went to Avalor, they would have went there flipping aeons after any of that stuff seen in Odin's DMs.
Oh.
So,
Emperor equals bad. Source: I play video games. 100%, Nick. That's it. That's how you kind of know. Oh, you have an emperor. Well, we're gonna have to kill you at some point. But how are we going to go and kill an emperor of this Arathi kingdom of half-elves that we don't know where it is, except for the fact that they sent a small contingent of basically a small army to Beladar?
I think this has been reworked recently. I
don't think it's been reworked recently.
Okay.
But I think this is probably different from...
Do you remember what they removed from the store page? There was a description. It was either for the Nerubians or the... It was.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Did it flash?
It just happened again.
Cool. Right. Where you're talking about is the Arathi page when the War Within was first announced.
Yeah.
It said that they were there fighting the Nerubians for hundreds of years. That was very quickly changed to say they've been fighting the Nerubians for whatever time. No solid time period, just to fight them in general. So I know some people saw that and went, this is horrible, this is terrible, this is a rewrite. This is, they've pivoted the story, they've flipped it, which I don't think is true, because there's a lot of stuff built here where, and it's a case of they don't have the details done right across all their quest team, because because they've been in Hollowfall for how long? How long have the Arathi been in Hollowfall, Michael?
Since the Shadowlands. Because, Matt, the thing that caused the Emperor's vision was clearly Zoval.
No. You're 2 expansions off.
Oh.
Well, you're 2 expansions off on the Emperor's vision thing.
Okay.
It's not technically true. So it's been 15 years.
15?
Only 15 years.
Oh, boy.
So I'm trying to remember exactly where that is in World of Warcraft canon, but is like, half of World of Warcraft ago, they actually showed up there.
Damn.
But since they left Arathi,
mm-hmm.
However, I think I got goddamn, because even
so Jared
and I was
worked out it could be about 1,200, 1,000 years ago.
He was basing that because we talked about this on the Lore Working podcast, which hasn't gone live, which means we'll have to put a big disclaimer. There's the stuff we know now that we didn't. Shit, but it was 1,200 years is the number he put on it.
Yep, the crumbling of the old empire.
Yeah,
was it called an empire? Or was it called a kingdom?
It was the.
Because if it's still called Empire, then...
Well, it was actually the tribe, and then it was the kingdom of Athor, I think.
Okay.
Because they had a king. But, yeah.
Nope.
Where was I at with that? No?
Nope.
Was it the Empire?
Yep.
Well, then it's still an empire?
Arathor, variously called the Empire of Arathor.
Oh,
the
yes,
Arathorian
yes.
Empire was the first great human civilization.
Yeah, and it might be the greatest... Well, not humans anymore, right? Not humans anymore. Isn't that interesting? Hence the title, Humans in Quotes. Because we think of them as humans when we think of the Arathi, but they don't think of that themselves.
That's it. Them knife ears.
Basically, yeah. I can't believe you went there already. I play almost exclusively elves. That's not true. I play Drown as well. So what kind of happens, we'll get into this in a little bit more detail when we talk about Hollowfall as a whole, but the thing that we've that's happened us this week we get hit with was, the Arathi have only been in Hollowfall for 15 years. The Crystal Beladar only started turning into shadow form recently.
Oh!
How recently?
What did we do?
Wasn't us for change.
My god, the player didn't ruin everything.
The player didn't ruin everything.
Huh. to Blizzard.
Uh,
Okay, so what caused the Void thing to go?
What do you think?
That's what you're teeing up.
yeah.
Um,
Think of all of the cataclysmic events that happened in World of Warcraft. Which one do you think?
well, no, because this is about the light. What I was going to default to say is that it was Sargeras doing a stab, but that's, I guess my analogy is that Azeroth is being sort of brainwashed by her life support system.
That's probably true, yeah.
Is a little bit of almost how I see it, but that's that's Azeroth, not this chunk. So it's got to be something something light related. And thinking about that, I mean, we gave the Void a little bit of purchase when we took Xalatath up to Argus. There is destroying Xalatath. What? No, Zira.
No, I haven't destroyed Xalatath yet.
The destroying of Zira, but I don't really know what that would do because I don't actually understand what, mechanically how any of these things are linked. Because it's like, yeah, I mean, Illyria slurped up Void Narrow, but she did that a long way away. Why would it impact this? So I can't fit.
You were right with guess number 1.
Oh, okay.
It was Sargeras' sword impacting Silithus, whatever that did to Azeroth, whatever happened, whatever, reverberations were underneath the earth there. It actually triggered the Day of Darkness for the Arathi, as they call it, which is when Belladar first went dark. But, so that's cool. But we do have...
The Department of Defense.
Exactly. So yeah, we do have this wonderful situation where we now know of they're setting up a little bit of future-y things a little bit. Because we now have the Empire of Arathor existing somewhere. Avalorn. Because Khazad-dûr
Avalorn's the only other
Avalorn.
place that we know.
Yep, that's it. It has to be. It has to be. That there's just a big-ass empire of... just a full empire of light-worshipping. And not just light-worshipping, because they also have... powerful mages and powerful everything, basically. We just have what humanity was left in World of Warcraft that we know of was basically a handful of shit tribes that barely survived. Stormwind was the dredges of humanity, and they built their way up a little bit. Meanwhile, obviously we've advanced technologically pretty well, right? We've advanced pretty technologically well with airships and stuff like that, with war machines. Azerite did a lot of that in BFA. That pushed some of the technological advancement. But also, war drives technological advancement.
It does.
But now there's a little bit of, what's going on here, but stuff to figure out that we don't know for sure. But the kind of... the stuff that they have in Halifal is pretty advanced. Yes. At least almost about as advanced as we are. But we had war to propel us. They were on Avalorn. Don't know, maybe they were warring on Avalorn and stuff. Basically what I'm trying to say is the humans in World of Warcraft that we know are dog shit compared to the Arathi.
So what we know, lore-wise, the fracturing 1200 years ago is... the current lore is that it is... waning political influence of Strom, and then rising sort of political or geopolitical whatever influence of the other groups, like Gilneas being a sort of mercantile power. I guess Dalaran gets left behind, but Dalaran obviously mages. Sorry, I'm just thinking with I do have the wiki .gg page just because I'm trying to see of that established sort of documented lore, where could the splitting off point be? So these
it was probably that fracturing,
yeah. So these Arathi then, because right now I think the only lore that we have is just it's way deep backstory, waning political influence, and his nobles just kind of let it rot, and then things split, and they were no longer as powerful. That's how it is. Whereas here it seems pretty clear there's like a seed population that left.
Yep.
And if you're dealing with 1,200 years, it's a lot of generations. That is a lot of time. Banging.
Species Nation, whatever it's called.
Speciation?
Yeah, speciation, yeah.
Going on there. Oh, their ears are round and now they can't breathe.
Yeah, so the fun thing is they are not humans and they're not elves and they're not half-elves. They are genetically half-elves, but they don't consider themselves that. They consider themselves just Arathi.
Yeah.
Because what happened was, by most accounts, there was this group of Arathi that split off, and they brought high elves to help teach them magic. Obviously, quite a lot of high elves, or are they just one side of the genetics, just worn out big time? Maybe they're quarter elves. That makes more sense. Mm-hmm. That's why they're angry at being called half elves. So they went across the seas. They made it across the storming seas to the other side of Azeroth.
Yes,
where Avalorn lies, alongside probably other things.
What the Titans call the Storming Sea.
Yeah.
Or no, the Titan Keepers call the Storming Sea.
That's what they call it as well.
Call the... Okay, that's good if they call it that, because that's what...
I believe they call it that.
That's what Tyr calls it. The story about the green dragon who wants to fly off the map. Yes. Tyr calls it the Storming Sea there.
Yeah, it's called the Storming Sea. The General Steel Strike calls it that. You know what? Instead of just lingering us, we'll actually show you what we're actually looking at and talking through. So we do have... Now, I haven't been able to see half of this stuff because the alpha is buggy. This time around, this build is buggy, where you can't actually go to Hollowfall. A handful of people got lucky enough for basically you talk to the NPC and it teleports you and gives you the right quest. That worked for some people. For the vast majority, it's not. You can go there if you get summoned and you can explore, but you can't do the campaign. But you do have some quests and things like that. So here we have the Arathi Expedition arrived 15 years ago and they have an emperor. A lot of this comes from Portuguese, I believe. Keyboard Turn's been doing similar and posting a lot of dialogue, which is very, very cool and very, very useful. But we see Nikki posted a big document in our work chat with loads of other screenshots that he's got. Yeah, one of his screenshots is actually in the thumbnail for this because it was Belladar in dark. It looks gorgeous. It looks gorgeous. Yeah. So this is a guy called Wenrin Alfal. I look at that and I'm like, is that a pun? I don't know. Maybe it's just a name. This guy is a mage. This guy is the only mage left of the Halfall expedition. That's why they can't get home.
Oh dear.
Because they brought a contingent of mages to make sure they could set up supply lines the same way we do whenever we go somewhere. Yep. We go to Warlords, and then we when we're setting up the guard for the first time and
portal slaves.
Yeah, someone just goes portal open up, and then in BFA we had that bit where we had the portal authority in Borealis actually work with us to set up constant lines. That kind of advancement of tech, they had that all going completely fine. The only thing is, it was the stroke of darkest luck that every single mage, except for the apprentice who couldn't teleport, just died. Because they crashed and got saved by Belladar, teleporting them down. They crashed in the Storming Sea on their way to Belladar. They got attacked, I believe.
Whoa, okay, so, right.
Yes.
1,200 years ago, the lads go on a big sail.
They went on a big sail
and
to
end
Avalorn.
Up in a place called Avalorn.
Yeah.
And then, 15 years ago, they send an expedition. That expedition gets scuppered because of bad weather, as many expeditions do, and then they get teleported by a big lamp.
So
that's not what I should call it. A mighty grand edifice of the light. There we go.
We've got the actual thing that's happened here. We've got the whole story from General Steelstrike, right? Which is which is a cool name. They made their way to they were set up in Avalorn. They had this whole empire going over the past 1,000-something years, as far as we're aware. Then the Emperor had a vision, and this is called the Emperor's Vision: A Prophecy of Light, Battle, and Victory for the Arathi and the Sacred Flame. So General Steelstrike was
Secret Flame.
Sacred Flame.
Oh, okay, good.
Not Sacred Flame.
Yeah, because that involved Gandalf.
Sure would. So this General Steelstrike was raised to the position, and they went, okay, our Armada braved the storming sea and its impossible tempests.
Armada?
Yeah. So they went, there's a vision, we have to go fight like fuck. So they did. And then, whoops, the storm wrecked them. But Beladar stepped in. The Emperor's vision happened exactly as they foresaw.
Instead, there was a radiant flash.
Yep. And Beladar was they were teleported under the light of the star they named Beladar.
So many.
Well, interesting that they call it Beladar, considering, all the other Naru are called something Dar or something similar.
So many died as the Armada crashed into the cliffs. We thought the eternal flame of Arathor snuffed out that day. So what is, I then wonder, what is the eternal flame? Is it some sort of narrative device? Like the White Tree of Gondor. You know that thing the civilizations got? I don't know, if Belfast had the ever-burning bonfire, and whenever the bonfire goes out, Ireland falls.
Yeah. So, without having done the campaign, because the campaign doesn't work on Alpha at the minute, maybe it does now, or maybe it does tonight, so that'll be a good way to spend my Friday evening. But it's clearly, the Eternal Flame is clearly like the important thing. It's their like light blessed flame, because they have all this worship to it, and they worship holy fire in the same way that like flame gives light, in the same way that kobolds are actually paladins, by the way. More on that maybe later.
Whoa. Damn. Candle pilled.
Yeah, exactly. So there is this there's this ever-burning flame that grants them the source of light, and they do that. They take that and they light stuff with that, and that turns Beladar back into its light form, because it is a potent source of light. God knows where they got that. Also, yes, that's it. The if you weren't aware, the whole void light cycle thing is something that is basically not just happens, like it seems to do to Naru, but in the same way that we, the players, figured out, if you're a paladin or a priest, alongside the priest and paladin order halls, what if we just take a darkened Naru and just jam it full of light? Will it turn back into light again? That works for whatever Beladar is, which obviously is a big Naru crystal. Potentially an even bigger Naru than a regular ones, because it's fucking huge, by the way. Because it's kind of weird.
Well, Jared had a theory that it was 5 Naru.
That would make sense, because that would be the initial human vision.
Merildar?
Merildar.
Yeah.
Because she's the namesake of the city in it. Is Beladar suicidal Naru? I think Beladar is either Naru or a lot of Naru in a box, and they're going mental over being stabbed. Not that they were stabbed, but that the world was stabbed, and whatever pain Azeroth putting them through is doing stuff. So we get this is the story of how they got here. They got here through, they're a big empire that we have no idea where it is literally. We know, but we also don't know, that kind of thing. That all our characters are going to find out about and go, wait, what the holy shit. So they did that. Then the Emperor went, Vision Quest, go! But instead of the Vision Quest of like 3 dudes in like a small party, it's send your armies on a Vision Quest. Because that's what emperors do. They go, I want something. I have dreamt of glory. Go get me glory. Which is wonderful. But then the years later, which obviously we know now to be however many, 10 years later-ish. Not super up to date on the timeline. But around that,
there was a great rumble. Finally, they're cross-promoting their games.
Fantastic. Yeah, it was the Day of Darkness, the first time Beladar shifted to shadow, and they all, the Lamplighters guided them through the darkness, through being like the kind of shamanistic-y paladins who are kind of more like personal based instead of just the light, we fight.
Let's see, I'd had too many years defending against the monsters that go bump in the night. Alright, talking about the Lamplighters. And then yes, there's this character Faerun Lothar, who is above described as a stowaway.
Yeah, she was a stowaway child. So
I sort of wonder about that, given the surname. The
surname's interesting. There's a couple different theories on that, because it's important. Like, how do I put this? Lothar is a very different surname to the surnames everyone else has. So she might be she's probably a descendant of a Lothar. But I imagine that the Lothars, or whatever their descendants, was probably usurped by the Emperor.
So you either do that or... well, no. You see, if it was usurped by the Emperor, then it wouldn't make sense to make that be a sort of honorary, like Caesar turns into Tsar and, turns into all those other things.
But then these are all, these are different people. If Faerun has no status, then you can kind of see I'm the... So
she has no status, but she is a Lothar. Well, other than being a Lamplighter.
Yeah, like she was a stowaway child. Yeah, which implies that she wasn't. Maybe it was just her age. Maybe she is important, but I'm kind of getting the vibes of, you're this like fucking nobody, but you have the great bloodline, And then Anduin will see that and go, you were nobody, but we have the same name, sort of, almost. Maybe I could be great like you. Something like that, maybe. Something like that, because she does her big...
Wheel bang, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. If half of the campaign isn't them flirting terribly, I'll be upset. So... This is, Faerun talks to Anduin here about, like, they call it the star, Beladar, the Emperor's vision of holy light. Which means the Empire was actually, sorted away. Sorted away, vision of light deep under the ground, blah, 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 blah.
So I guess the Empire thing is interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because, there's Empire, it's sort of... when we think of empires... you almost have kings that are vassals of empires. It kind of makes you think of a level of scale, like a level of dominion. So I'm wondering how powerful this group is. And I guess then with Avalorn, if it is Avalorn, and I think it would make sense for it to be Avalorn, like Avalorn, Avalon. There's Avalon stuff up near...
Yeah.
Oh, New Avalon, that place where the Scarlets are. And that's all up in that sort of tier area. That just gets me wondering. We know, okay, to put it this way, whatever is in Avalorn is so much of a big old menace that whenever Odin sends his squad of lads, all his expeditions out to Avalorn, they all get wrecked and wash up back in the shore again. So these... Arathi humans are somehow able to best the thing that, Odin's boys many, generations ago failed to defeat. 20,000, 30,000 years ago, whatever that is. So that kind of, I don't know, it sort of shows there's a level of power. These guys are probably quite legit. And they certainly do appear to have a lot of power when you look at them in game.
They got to launch an armada on the Emperor's Vision Quest. Either they have nothing to fight at home, the Emperor's a lunatic, or they are very, very, very strong.
Yeah.
And I think them being massive and being empowered by the light for so long, and basically being like the chosen ones of the light. Like this is like I was talking about earlier, they're pretty advanced compared to what we're like, not further than we are, but for humans without dwarves and their industriousness, without gnomes and their industriousness, it was just humans and elves. And they still managed to make airships. And they've had this like incredible source of light power all the time.
Yeah. For
ages. So I'm assuming they're pretty like actually terrifying. I'm expecting these to be I don't want to say like full on, it's the big religious empire that we have to in the future overthrow by destroying
mate.
With their insane despot, we have to overthrow them.
A good theocracy battle.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be mighty crack.
It'd be good to just go, right, it is time for the one thing we haven't really got to do properly in World of Warcraft outside of a little bit in Cataclysm, which is church bad. We finally get to have our church bad moment. That would be very interesting. Because obviously if you look at the Arathi, they're kind of like... They look different, but they also have... They're all like... All of their iconography comes from human iconography. So obviously they named it after Meldar.
Yeah.
Which means obviously this was like... The people that went there were maybe guided at the last second by the light. Maybe that's... The light saved them. Beladar saved them. That's why they're able to make it across to Avalorn. They were like, well, only the holy can enter the Holy Land. The Titans stay out. They don't like how you smell, that kind of stuff. That would make sense to me, especially when it comes to the like here's the vision quest after. You're in the same way that the Void has set up all of its players across all of Azeroth.
Yeah.
The Light hasn't really done that very much.
Or has it? And we just haven't seen.
Yeah. The Scarlets are who gives a shit, to be honest, really. Obviously they're cool for us, but on the cosmic scale,
bunch of blowhards.
Yeah, the cosmic scale, no one cares. The Argent Dawn stuff, very, very useful, very incredibly powerful, everyone loves them, but mostly until Legion, in the sense they were just dealing with human problems and human land
very
problems.
very local in scale.
Yeah. But then these guys are probably, you look at the Lightforged, well, these guys aren't Lightforged, but, if the Lightforged came down somewhere, where are they going to land on Azeroth? They'll probably land in Avalorn with... the Arathi Emperor with his open arms going, yo, it's my dudes, come on in.
And I guess thinking
and we'll be like, no, don't do that, you fucking idiot.
Thinking about Midnight, I suppose there's a version in my head where I'm seeing this mix in with Midnight and Last Titan. I say Midnight because some of the Lost Elven tribes, but also if you're dealing with, Fight Void, well, that's exactly what these people have been doing. And they're very, light aspected. So you can see them being useful in the next fight. But then when all the Titan stuff happens, well, they're the people who unseated whatever is at Avalorn, which was clearly quite powerful and spooky to Titan-aligned people. Which then, I think quite obviously means they could play an interesting role in The Last Titan. But I suppose this is... Do you know what, actually? This is some expansionary lore.
This is...
actual expansionary lore.
And there's a little bit of it, I can see people complain, there's a little bit of it is, another Secret Empire. Wow, how original. And you kind of go...
It's well forecast.
Yes, but it's the case of, obviously, 10 years ago, they weren't thinking about this. Obviously not.
But they always knew that they had what is, there's the rectangle of our map.
Yeah.
And they have never said that the rectangle of our current in-game map is the whole world.
Yeah, so it's all about execution when you get to experiences happening. And if they have fairly decent explanations, which they do a lot of in the text here. Do an awful lot of explaining and getting you on their side immediately.
And I guess in my head as well, it's not us just, suddenly there's a massive empire on our doorstep and we didn't notice.
They have been teasing it for a while where we go, this is another piece in the puzzle that we're starting to get close up.
So I think that we bump into their expedition rather than bump into them at their, at home. I actually think that matters quite a bit for making this feel... like a credible expansion, to the lore. So, so far, I mean, I'm in. So far, I think this is good.
Yeah, I mean,
everything I've seen of them looks like it may not be a big, high-minded point, but it looks cool. And I think that's kind of important.
Yeah. So here's one of the. Well, okay, I think I saw someone complain about how they use the name Paladin. Despite not knowing that name Paladin, I'm like, there's a bit of nitpicking going on here with the story stuff. But that aside, I really also I'll talk about the Priory of the Secret Flame later and what that could possibly mean, because I don't know why we're fighting Arathi Devouts in the Priory of the Secret Flame. I don't know why there's light risen undead in that dungeon either.
Well, it's the Kalia thing.
Except this clearly is nothing with Kalia, so this is leading into a more cosmic light Naru stuff.
Maybe someday Twitter users will finally get what they've always wanted, to be able to kill Kalia in World of Warcraft.
Maybe. Fantastic. So I just thought this was very interesting.
So this is a weathered tome?
Weathered tome,
where
which
we're starting?
is, approaching my last breath, I, Elvain, a paladin and bringer of the light to darkened sights, will write my own eulogy. I spread the light of Beledar through these light-forsaken creeks and chasms. I bring the light to take a stand and banish the darkness, etc., etc. We are seekers of light. We are the holders of the eternal brazier of our Emperor. The flame's light guides us wherever we stride. We are the stars that guide through the never-ending night. My life for the Emperor, my life for the Emperor. We're gonna fight the shit out of these guys.
I can see how they will be our friends and then they will not be our friends.
We're gonna fight the shit out of them. And after it'll be a whole thing of maybe Farron's a true leader. I don't know. Maybe eventually. So that's kind of all we know now. I think people will really like this. People will really hate it. Which means I think they'll hate it because there's a certain I don't
see anything hateable here.
I really don't want to talk about this. But there are certain people who assume all representation is what's I'm looking for? Is support. You're you've shown that on your screen, therefore you're suggesting it's fine.
Those people are fucking morons and shouldn't be listened to.
Yes, I know. I know 100%. So the people who find this distasteful, and maybe them being...
How's that No. Tell me how that's distasteful. What is a good faith position about that being distasteful?
Because someone in our chat with a Peepo avatar said, "Sounds pretty based, not gonna lie," and you know exactly.
Wow.
You know the vibes.
I mean,
anyway.
that's the issue that I'm dancing around.
Yeah, I know. I know.
But just because it's that thing of like when you write a character with a perspective, might even be a character with a perspective you deeply disagree with.
Yeah.
Take a recent, you know what, I'll do a movie that I watched because it is, it's fully there. The Nightingale, which is...
Oh, is that the...
primarily following
Is that the...
an Irish convict, two Irish convicts in Australia. Right. And I suppose the way the story goes, some fairly awful things happen, and the circumstance is... I forget... Where exactly was it that he was from? Essentially... Irish person is person that movie initially is definitely empathizing you with. And she's humongously racist to this black dude. And you're like, well, yeah, of course she is. I mean, basically, look at the time in which this story is taking place. And, ultimately, I suppose there does come to be like a mutual respect. But the bit, it feels authentic to the era, right? And... I saw some people like, I cannot believe that you have portrayed, let's just say, essay on a character, following that, racism in this character. It's like, well, no, that's the story, and these things actually happened. And this story is about those things that happened. The person who is writing or directing this film does not endorse everything all the characters do. Right? Like, there is this really, I don't know, I think anyone who's like, oh my God, I think a right winger might want to join the Emperor. Like, you're letting the 0.5% of mad people just like dominate your whole worldview. Whereas most people are going to be like, oh damn, they're pretty cool, but also pretty sus. I wonder what sort of story will happen with these people that, we are allies of convenience with, who maybe we will have points of significant difference with later, and we may come to blows. There he gets a story.
Who'd have thought we're going to get some story, and it might have some teeth for a change. Might adjust.
Yeah, because if you're always just like, oh no, we can't do a character who's distasteful because some Twitter users will be angry, or we can't do this because some other whatevers will be angry. No. And whether it is to super left people on Twitter or super right people on Truth Social.
Oh dear.
It's like just tell your story authentically. And if you're going into territory that feels really sketchy, well, you have to do good research.
Navigate it properly.
And navigate it properly. Try to be good at your job. Be humble. Do good research. Perhaps reach out to people who know more about it than you do. It's fine. Just do a good job.
Sorry. Conflict exists as an opportunity for Alex Straza to give a speech.
No!
There you go. Alex Straza show up like, no, we should be moral and have ethics. Also, we should have empathy, which I forgot to have for my entire career as Dragon Queen. Fuck. Whoops. My bad.
Okay, like in that, context of more extreme views that spread on social media, the core idea that the Titans put something in the water to make the dragons, you're like, wow,
that's funny. Like,
that's really hilarious.
Hey, Blizzard, would you like to give comment on why there are what I can only describe as in the dungeon where the current rulers were infusing the water to impact the desired outcome with the younglings of a race that they were exerting control over? Why are there fucked up frogs in that water system?
Oh my God!
Do you want to make an official comment on that one? Because that's funny as hell.
They made the frogs kill you when you got too many stacks.
They did. They made the aggressive frogs. So there was something else that was there something else about this? Not really too much. This is cool. I really look forward to seeing how these vibes shift and change.
Yeah.
Because I will say there's an awful lot of this is clearly not how all of the Hallowfall Arathi act.
Okay.
but there are definitely a sect of them are very like this, and thus
Yes.
we beat the shit out of them.
It's a big serious paladin dude.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
obviously, like later on, if they bring us to Avalon to fight them, there'll likely be some stories to tell, which will be fun.